the final whistle was blown at the Amex Stadium. It has finished Brighton Hove Albion 1, West Ham United 1, 2 very late goals. It looked like it was going to be West Ham's second goalless game in a row for the first time this season in the league. It wasn't to be. Danny Welbeck against the run of play opened the scoring in the 84th minute. Just seconds after Craig Dawson had missed a gilt-edged opportunity to put the Hammers in front with a header, and he knew it. West Ham thought all was lost. We thought all was lost, but Saeed Benrahma, super sub Saeed Benrahma, had other ideas, curling in an absolutely fantastic equaliser for the Hammers 3 minutes from the end of normal time. The Hammers pushed on in hope of what would have been an unlikely winning goal. It wasn't to be, just coming up short in the end. But no disgrace to go to Brighton and come away with a draw. It's a 5th successive draw against the Seagulls. It's an 8th game against the Seagulls without a win since Brighton returned to the Premier League. They've got the hex on us. They've got the hoodoo. But West Ham remain 6th in the Premier League, 59 points from 36 games, a point behind Liverpool in 5th. And importantly now, probably looking down the table to Tottenham and Everton, 3 points behind the Hammers, but both with a game in hand. Rio, I'm going to come to you first for your post-match summary. Brighton 1, West Ham United 1. What did you make of it?
We looked aside that despite the return of 2 of our premium players, looked devoid of ideas at times. We started brightly in the start of either half, but really we was lacking with our final ball. We lacked a lot of intent, a lot of creativity, a lot of intelligence at times. Probably our best spell was in the first period, but nothing seemed to be concrete in terms of opportunities. Everything's just a little bit sluggish, a little bit tired, a little bit laboured at times. And when we need that little spark of creativity, it didn't come until way too late. And again, we got sucker punched by a goal which was easily avoidable. I mean, one of the chances that we did create from the corner, Craig Dawson missed the header. And as Pinky said, I think his mind was elsewhere once again because they went straight up the other pitch, exploit the space in between him and Ogbonna. The ball should have been cut in midfield beforehand anyway. But it's just a goal that we seem to concede time and time again at the wrong moments. But we can't be too downhearted after the season we produced to be this close to Champions League football, to be on the verge of European football some way or form still, only 2 games to go. It's a cracking blow tonight, but, you know, look at the bigger picture. Look how far we've come. Look what we've exceeded expectations. You've got to look at the positives from this, you know. Tonight was disappointing, frustrating, incredibly annoying. But the bigger picture is this side has got heart, character, ability, passion. And you can tell by the way players reacted at the final whistle there. They're equally as gutted as we are, you know. On the cusp of Champions League, it's not to be, but, you know, we've given it a good crack this season.
We certainly have. Unfortunately for West Ham, right at the moment, it's really counted here at the end of the season. That important run in it to only 1 win in 5 games now, 3 defeats and a draw as well. But the Hammers still in 6th place. It's been a fantastic season, but just coming up short tonight, Pinky. But I guess in a way we should be glad that we've come away from this one with a point, given, you know, we were, let's not forget, a goal behind with just 6 minutes of normal time left to play.
Yeah, and it's a case of, you know, as we all know, if you don't take your chances in this division, it comes back to haunt you. We got out of jail a bit tonight from the sublime finish by Saeed Benrahma. I mean, you know, he's a player I've criticised plenty on these broadcasts, so tonight he's going to get plenty of praise. He picked his spot. It wasn't a fluke. He knew what he was doing. You know, hats off to him. So, you know, that might give him a bit of a shot in the arm. But for us overall tonight, the big problem that now presents to us, you know, the Champions League is almost certainly gone. It would take the most bizarre set of results elsewhere to see us, you know, make any kind of have any kind of chance to get in the top 4. And the big problem that's going to pose, if you can offer Declan Rice Champions League football, you can at least present the argument that says, well, if that's what you want, Declan, you've got it at West Ham. We can't do that now, almost certainly. And I'm not suggesting that Declan's going to go in Jermaine Defoe style, tomorrow morning and say, well, that's it, boss, I'm giving it my best shot, but it ain't happening for me here. I wouldn't suggest that for one moment, but it just makes the club's job a bit harder to hang on to a player of his undoubted quality. If we can, great. If we can make the Europa, great. Notwithstanding that, a good season from us. Let's feel good about being a West Ham supporter for a change. We're at the right end of the table. We've seen dross like Sheffield United get relegated so long ago, we've all forgotten about it. So for us, decent enough season, but that could be a vital point tonight. It really could. And yeah, it might not be Juventus or Barca or Real Madrid, but it could be Dortmund. You'd take that, wouldn't you? Away at Dortmund sometime in September. So fingers crossed we can still get European football.
Yeah, no question. As per last week, if you've got any questions for the team here, do let us know on the YouTube chat. Just fire your questions over. Can be about the game today, can be about anything to do with West Ham in general. I'm not taking any more questions on my haircut though, so that one's out. But no, over to you for your immediate post-match thoughts. It's ended 1-1 at the Amex Stadium. Brighton scoring that unlikely first goal in the 84th minute. West Ham grabbing a deserved equaliser 3 minutes from the end of time. Not able to grab a second and secure the win that would have kept our Champions League hopes alive. But as Pinky said, could be a very, very valuable point come the end of the season.
Yeah. Sorry. You want to just say that again? No. I mean, disappointing in terms of the context of what we were hoping for at the start. Happy with the point, given the way things progressed. As the others have said, we looked like it's been a long season. We saw Declan play just overhit one slightly for Souček, which ran out, and the look on Souček's face as he was turned around to jog back was sort of said it all, really. He just looked completely and utterly exhausted. I think in a second, the Sky, I think, are going to go to Declan Rice. So I may turn everything off and listen to see what he's got to say and come back to you. Certainly, when they had the wide shot, it looked like Declan Rice that was stood in front of the little advertising thing. But we'll see who it is in a second. Which player they've grabbed first? So
all right. Well, we'll come back to you, Gnome, in just a moment.
Yes, Declan. So
just give me the sign. Give me the sign.
Declan.
If there you go, he's on already. While Gnome is catching up on what Declan Rice has got to say, his thoughts on the 1-1 draw at the Amex tonight, we're going to go and have a look at the forums. It's the KUMB.com forum, to which we'll go first, the match thread, and see what our fellow hammers have been saying. Rio's iPad is a little slow.
Yeah,
wait for it to kick in.
Go Pinky first. I'll try and come back to you.
Okay, let's go to the Brighton Forum first. Pinky has been keeping an eye on the North Stand chat forum for us this evening. Let's see what the Albion fans made of that one, Pinky.
Frustrated not to get a win. Huge excitement over the Welbeck goal. They thought he took it particularly well, and I would agree with them. Where I'm differing slightly with Rio and the gang here. I think it was more a case of Soufal switched off as the first mistake. But as for the goal we scored, they're not attaching too much blame to their own players, although they are pointing out they've got six defenders in the box and no one goes to shut him down. Basically, the Brighton fans frustrated. They are, I think, reasonable, in terms of their approach. Joke, to be honest, need a first goal of the season, play us 2 last week and 1 this week. if GP can teach our players one thing, it's that the final whistle does not come at 85 minutes. Worst in the Premier League for points lost from winning positions. That's interesting. So this is the Brighton fans saying this. But great finish from Ben Rama. Can't argue with that. But then the next post from GT 49er. 2 more points thrown away to go along with other 20 or so were thrown away this season. So frustrating. Saints, Palace, Wolves, Villa, Leeds, all capable of getting the occasional comfortable win. Us, rarely. Well, I tell you what, Side Gully or Seagull, try and support West Ham. See if you get really better. But it's something like 25 points the Brighton fans are now talking about dropping from winning positions. Wow. Dare I say it, that's where the footballing philosophy of Graham Potter meets the pragmatic reality of the Premier League, whereby, it's nice to play good football, but it's even nicer to win. And that's what the Brighton fans are saying there tonight.
Okay, thank you for keeping an eye on the forum for us there tonight. PinkyNorthstandChat.com. If anyone wants to go and have a look, we'll bring you the best of those comments on the opposition view tomorrow on KUMB, of course. Rio, have we got some views from the West Ham contingent?
We have now.
Fire away,
we've all
buddy.
kicked into life. Steps has put, not good enough. Rice and Lingard look absolutely dreadful. Fornals had a shocker. Benny dug us out of hope with a brilliant goal, and hopefully that will silence a few critics. Terrible game, but that's how both teams set up the score against us now. Wolf 359, not our greatest performance. Poor all round going forward. Not going to dig out the players. They're clearly exhausted, mentally and physically. Those of you looking to blame someone metaphorically, look towards our director's box. Smuts, Poxy Brighton. I'm chuffed for Ben Rama. It was a lovely finish. But it was another poor showing, sadly, from the rest of the front four. They're running on fumes. And Fornals had a mare, sadly. Sadly, a lot of our players got absolutely knackered. And we have 0 decent options on the bench to give any of them a rest. Aging Hammers put, leaving Fornals and Antonio's poor games aside, 3 handballs, no penalty. Yet they are given to the top 6 clubs every single time. There must have been at least 10,000 our players, and the ref gave us absolutely nothing. You have to be decapitated for a West Ham player to get a free kick. We have the most honest bunch of players in the league. They don't go down easy. They don't scream like little girls being hit, but still we get no fair refereeing decisions. Where was the VAR tonight for all those penalty decisions? I'm sorry, but we're getting too close to comfort for a seat at the top table. Something smells rotten. And Clucking Bell, I think we've just run out of gas at the end of the season. It shades of 15-16, really. I'm super pleased that Ben Rama finally got his goal, but unfortunately, we needed the 3 points. Obviously, the Champions League's ambition have disappeared against Chelsea, and the pressure's now really on in terms of qualifying for Europe at all. Like everyone else, I would have bitten your hand off in his position at the beginning of the season, but it's still really disappointing that the wheels are beginning to fall off the cart at the 11th hour. Yeah, it's just a lot of despondency and a lot of negativity shining through. There's a lot of criticism being dished out towards Mikel Antonio and Pablo Fornals tonight. And to be honest, I don't think they had the worst games in the world.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if perhaps people are looking for scapegoats there because the Hammers have failed to win. But it's an interesting point there, actually, Pinky, that someone made there. Thank you, Rio, by the way, for that. About sort of the wheels coming off, and here we are, sort of on the verge of qualifying for the Champions League, or at least being in contention right until now. We could miss out on Europe altogether, of course. Now that would be devastating, wouldn't it? I know you said earlier in the stream it's been a great season, but surely to miss out on Europe now would be a huge hammer blow.
It'd be a disappointment, but if we're looking at this in the cold light of day, have we invested appropriately this season to ensure we can get European qualification? We're was European qualification the aim at the start of the season, given the level of investment?
Yeah.
And clearly not. Was it the aim in January, given the lack of investment then? Clearly not. Because let's not forget, you know, and I'm disappointed, we're all disappointed with tonight, but let's not forget, we've played the season effectively without a recognised striker.
Yeah.
You know, let's not muck around here. You know, we're in sixth spot tonight, having played Mikel Antonio up top for most of the season when he's been fit. We've got this far with only two sort of age-appropriate central midfielders in Rice and Souček, and it's no coincidence that when the injuries started to pile up, the performances started to tail off. And what we've actually seen here is the inevitable conclusion to a season in which this squad was underinvested from day one. And we're all disappointed, and we're saying player A didn't play that well or player B didn't play that well. Declan Rice tonight wasn't fit, and he was still probably the best player on the park, but he wasn't fit. So when you need a really fit Declan Rice to drive the team on for the last 30 minutes, he can't do it. And it's that kind of thing that's cost us ultimately. The lack of genuine options off the bench for the manager, whereby, okay, tonight he's put on side Benrahma, but, you know, Yarmolenko's been sat there a few weeks now. He's clearly not trusted by the manager. We don't have the striking option. Brighton had worked out Aaron Cresswell's, frailties this evening and had a game plan for it. So, as disappointed as we all are, I think the poster on the forum that says, if you're looking for a scapegoat, look at the director's box, not the dugout or the pitch, is probably spot on. The players are knackered. That's the long and the short of it. You know, we've got the 33-year-old Angelo Bonner, who we've probably rushed back a bit to get into the starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a central midfielder in Captain Mark Noble at the age of 34, who would be the option for the manager if he'd hooked Rice today, and no striking option really. It's a wafer thin squad that has punched miles above its weight to get to sixth. So if we get Europe, I'd still be absolutely delighted. Even in the Europa. If we just miss out, yes, I'll be disappointed, but I won't be pointing the finger at David Moyes, and I won't be pointing the finger at the players. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Good stuff. Gnome, have we finished on the Declan Rice front?
Yeah. He was putting a brave face on it. He couldn't really hide his disappointment at the result, but was pretty much saying what we've all been saying about, if you look at where we were at the restart, then it's been a great season. He said everyone I've talked to, West Ham supporters, they've been buzzing. He said to be honest, I've been buzzing at how well this season has gone. We had chances today. We should have put them away. We didn't. So he said, whilst it hasn't gone the way that we'd hoped today, he said it's still been a great season. On his own thing, he said he was pleased to get 90 minutes in because Pinky alluded he wasn't fit, and he said, I wasn't sure I'd get 90 minutes in today. So he was happy to have done that. And they pointed out he's done that in front of Southgate, which and as Pinky quite rightly pointed out, although he wasn't 100% the Declan we know and love, he was still probably the best player on the pitch. And there was that wonderful interception in the first half where it was all in his head. Not, other players wouldn't have spotted it and would have ended up having to dive in with a last-ditch tackle. He was there before the Brighton player even knew there was a chance he might be on, and just nipped it in, flicked it over, and came out with the ball. And that's perfect stuff. So he's, as I say, they were taking the Champions League seriously. He said, there was a spell there not all that long ago where he thought it was, the players genuinely thought it was on. He said, the players have given their all today, and as they have done through the season. And you know, let's look at how far we came. He also had a mention for Ben Rama, how pleased he was for the goal, because he said the lad's got talent. You know, we see him in training every day, and he said he hopes he can push on from that. So so that's pretty much summed him up.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. We're going to dwell on the positives for a bit now. We've looked at the negatives, and you know, we all know what they are. We don't need to, as I say, dwell on them anymore. A stat for you, an interesting stat for you, coming from Opta Joe. West Ham have picked up 28 points on the road in the Premier League this campaign, which is the club's joint best away points haul in a single season in the competition. The same amount achieved in the 2015-16 season. So if we get a point or more at West Brom in midweek, then that would be the club's best haul in the Premier League. So reasons to be cheerful, part one. Reasons to be cheerful, part two. Saeed Benrahma's first goal in a West Ham shirt. I noticed, Rio, someone said that, you know, or asked the question in your summary there on the KUMB.com forum match thread, asking, will it silence the critics? What do you make of that? Do you think that goal will silence the critics? I mean, we know he's capable of doing that. I mean, let's be honest, he's had enough chances and had enough attempts in the last 20-odd matches, you know, and once finally hit the back of it. It was a fantastic goal, absolutely brilliant goal. But, you know, with those unsure about Benrahma's role in the squad, you know, be convinced just as a result of one goal?
Not one goal. You've got to produce it over a season, not just flashes of brilliance. Let's not go away from it. That goal was a fantastic finish. We had a little bit of time to pick his spot, and he hit it perfectly. What he needs to do is produce week in, week out. He needs to be starting games and making himself undroppable.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't produced it on a regular basis. He's not convincing enough for me. He's not defensively disciplined. He's still wasteful in possession going forward. I don't want to beat the guy because there's talent there. There is skill there. But I think it's been a big step up for him. And it's been bigger than he expected. And it's bigger than I think most of our supporters expected as well.
Yeah.
It comes with a pretty hefty price tag. And for me, he hasn't lived up to it. I want to see him succeed. Let's see what happens next season. If he's still here, I hope he launches on, springs forward and takes this goal as a launching point. But I just can't see it at the moment, unfortunately. But, you know, tonight would have given him a lot of confidence. And hopefully he can use that as another kind of positive to move forward. I think what we've seen with Benrahma, from the point of view of supporters, is that his fans, the more he doesn't play, the better he gets. Mm-hmm. And for those who do see him play week in, week out and watch games religiously, you're seeing someone who isn't quite a finished article and may never be one.
Okay, thank you, Rio. Moving on swiftly, I want to go through again. Someone mentioned in the summary you made there that we had 3 handball shots. I can think of 2. I can't think of a third. There was the first one. There was the one where the ball flicked up in the first half. Gnome right at the end in the final minute, I think it was, of the first half.
There was one earlier to that where it came off the player who's about sort of there, but his arm was by his side.
Okay,
and then there was the one later on where they tried to flick it through.
The Lingard, the one where Lingard was absolutely convinced, wasn't he? What did you make of those? Any of those a penalty for you, or did the referee and VR got to get it right?
Yeah, not for me. I love to have got them, and the fact that, I mean, Rio said the time on a phrase you've seen them given, but usually for Liverpool. Yeah, fine, but that doesn't make it right, and I wouldn't want to see those given. Full stop. It's none of them were for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice as it would have been to get one, because we rarely get a penalty. No, let's have a real one. Let's have them for ones where 2 players shove Antonio over last week. We'll have those, but not those 3.
Not tonight. No, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I think we we were stretching a little bit, hoping that any of those were going to be given. Pinky, the point, I'm seeing the point being made on social media after the match quite a lot about, you know, the size of the squad has finally hit home. The fact that we didn't buy that striker to replace Haller in January as you know, has really cost us. The players look exhausted. Is that what's going on here? Is that, you know, only one win in these last 5 games? You know, we really needed to push on, and we were that close. But, you know, is it really just all hit hard now, and the players have just spent essentially exhausted?
Broadly, yeah, because, you know, I'm not convinced our Bonnet is fully fit, but we need him back in the team because he's a better option at 80% than, you know, 1 or 2 of the other options we've got at 100%. You know, Declan Rice is you know, an unfit Declan Rice is deemed a better option over the course of the game than, say, Mark Noble.
Yeah.
You know, we've been perhaps unlucky with Manu Lanzini going out when he has, but again, you know, there's nobody else to come in as backup. But it's the lack of striking options that will forever damn David Sullivan, because the transfer deals that are haunting this club currently are Felipe Anderson and Sebastian Haller. No question about it. The money that we put down for those 2 players, they have not contributed nearly enough to West Ham United Football Club. David Moyes this season has had to manage adversity. The squad have had to battle away with extremely limited options. I think they've done brilliantly to get to 6th position with 2 games to go and a positive goal difference of +10. In any other season, we'd be going, great season, terrific stuff. We're all just feeling a bit down tonight because there was a long shot at a top 4 place. So let's be clear, it was a long shot, yeah. But also now there's a possibility that the European place could just drift away, and that would be a real shame. But it is down to the squad depth, and the difference between the teams that finish mid-table and the teams that finish in the top half a dozen places is the depth of squad, and that's the long and the short of it. Only when you get down to the lower areas of the table you start debating the sort of the quality of the first 11, you know. So yeah, a team like Sheffield United, for example, hasn't got a particularly good first 11 at this level, whereas our first 11 on the field are fine, you know, pretty much assured mid-table, you would think. The problem we have is once you go outside of that first 11, the manager is then starting to pick players he doesn't trust to do the whole job. Ben Rama can do certain things, and I think he did very well when he came on tonight, by and large, but it isn't enough. Just what he does tonight isn't enough in a 90-minute game. But the manager clearly doesn't trust Yarmolenko, you know, as just one example, and you know, we've all seen Yarmo let the team down with poor decision making, you know. So really, we're probably 3 players short in the squad. And the terrifying thing is, as we look ahead to next season, Fabianski's not getting any younger. Ogbonna's not getting any younger. Most people tend to think that Declan Rice is going to be off. We still don't have a striker. You know, that's the spine of the team. So we'll start in the summer transfer window needing to replace the spine of the starting 11 before we even look at improving the caliber we've got on the bench. And therein lies the problem. And that's not down to David Moyes. That's David Sullivan, Karen Brady, David Gold. They need to do their jobs. The manager and the players have done their jobs this season, no question about it.
Interestingly, sort of on that subject, Sam Kay asks the question talking about our transfer policy and potential signings this summer. I'll come to you first on this one, Gnome. Sam asks, at this moment in time, would you sign Jesse Lingard? His form at the beginning he's looking more and more like a purple patch with every passing week. And he's certainly not been at the races for the last few weeks. What do you think? Would you sign him this year? Let's assume, of course, for the benefit of the question, that the money is there. You know, of course, we can talk about that all night. We don't know how much it's going to cost, but just purely on the signing alone, is it one you'd make? I don't think Gnome's listening to me.
He's on mute. I think he's doing the.
Sorry. No,
yeah.
I didn't realise it. I didn't see the signal. Sorry, Rio. I'll come to you first on that one. Then thank you for saving me. Jesse Lingard, would you sign him this summer?
If we could afford to, yes. I know. I think the problem is that he's played so well since he's joined here that he's put himself in the shop window, hasn't he? And he surprised everybody with how well he's adapted to the move down here. He's looked a class above at times. All right, he's tailed off the last 3 or 4 games, but that happens, you know. Mm-hmm. But I think he's played so well that he's put himself in the shop window. There's plenty of other suitors out there who'll be sniffing around him because he's showed what real quality he has. He's amazed everybody. And yeah, I don't think we'll be the only ones interested. And I think that will be the deciding point. Unless he absolutely loves it here and desperately wants to live in like East London, which I don't think. I think he'll be joining another team somewhere, but a bigger team than us.
I get the feeling you might see someone like Leicester coming from in the summer. But Pinky, what do you make of that? Would you sign again? You know, disregarding the cost and the fee involved, would you sign Lingard?
Yeah, I would. As ever, for the right money. I think he's done well, generally speaking. You know, and we're now measuring players against a higher standard. I mean, you know, let's be clear about that. You know, when you're competing at the right end of the table, suddenly you get a bit picky, and the day will arrive if you go high enough and you go, lean on Messi, past his best. You know, it's not what he once was. You know, and so we're looking at Lingard as is he a player that can drive us into that upper echelons, as opposed to is he a player that can do a job for the team and play well most weeks? You know, are we holding other players to the same standard? So if you're going to, you know, say, well, Lingard's form has tailed off in the last several weeks, how's Aaron Cresswell's doing? Because we saw him get murdered this evening, by and large. So all of his frailties were exposed. So, you know, my reticence on Lingard would be more about needing the money elsewhere in the team. It's not whether or not can we afford him in terms of have we got some money. It's have we got enough money to afford him and all the other players we're going to need to go and sign, and is he a priority? And my view is we won't be seeing Jesse Lingard in the claret and blue next season. I don't think we'll see him.
I fear you may be right, but anyway, just for the purpose of Sam's question, Gnome will come to David Moyes in just a moment. But firstly, Jesse Lingard, would you like to see him at West Ham next year? And if you were the manager and it was your choice, would you bring him in?
Yeah, he's a class player. He's I don't know. Obviously, I was listening to Moyes a minute ago, so I wasn't listening quite what the other guys were saying on that question. But I'll put my hand up. I was fairly underwhelmed when I heard he was coming in on loan. He was not somebody who'd ever sort of impressed me particularly. And he came in, and right from the start, he hit the ground running. And you know, there was clearly the guy's got talent. And yeah, I think I'm with Pinky. I suspect he won't be a West Ham player this time. After 30th of June, isn't it? It's the end of the official season or whenever it is. But I'd like him to be.
Okay.
Whether or not they can do the deal, well,
we shall see.
Who knows with the owners?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just for the purpose of my own view, I agree with all the guys. I'd like to see me. Again, like Gnome, I wasn't particularly overwhelmed when I learned he was coming in. You know, I guess you read the papers and the media, and you get a certain impression about a player, which is generally speaking wide of the mark. And I think that was certainly the case with Jesse. He's come in and done an excellent job for West Ham. And the thing I like about him is that, being the kind of player he is, he takes, we saw it tonight, didn't we, with the fouls in the first half. He affords space to his teammates because he's targeted so often, and so it's one of the reasons I'd like to see him come in. But whether he will or not, I'm with Pinky and well, all the guys. I'm not sure it's going to happen. So there you go, Sam. I hope that answers your question. No, you've been listening to David Moyes. Yeah.
And just to say that, just to help my memory, the sort of brief transcript has come up on the screen as well. Let's say, I'm disappointed that we didn't take more, but when you go 1-0 down with 6 minutes left, then it's good to get a draw. He stressed that he thought we played very well up to the final third, and it didn't quite work there. We didn't get the crosses. There wasn't the final ball. And he was asked, was this similar to Everton? And he said, there were a lot of similarities. Again, the possession we had. It's good that we're getting more possession because that's something that's improved. But the final ball, the final third, that's what let us down. Sorry, screen moves on. He was asked about Ben Rama, and he said, well, we brought him in to get us goals. We brought him in to get us assists. It's good that he scored, and it was mentioned that he put in the cross for Dawson's header as well. That's what we brought him in for. So he didn't really say an awful lot about Ben Rama. Again, read between the lines. It seems like it's something he doesn't like talking about. But he was asked about Declan. He said, Declan Rice, excuse me, back after a long injury spell. How do you think he did? And he said, okay. And he said, just okay? And he said, yeah, just okay. He said, I know what his standards are like, and I know how good he is. But yeah, he did okay. So then, of course, the questions moved on to Champions League. And he said, I think I said the other day that realistically, the chances really went against after the Everton match, and he said, obviously, he said, I'm not sure what it is mathematically, but realistically, the Everton game was the one that killed us there. But we're still trying to get a place in European football if we can. We're in a good place for that. It's a great thing to say we're in a good shout with 2 games to go. He said, at the end of the day, though, we played well enough to take more than a point. We'll take it, but we wanted 3. We didn't need a reaction because we played well for long periods of the game, but just that final bit of quality. We have missed Declan. Any good team would miss Declan Rice. We're still in there, still with a chance for European football, which is good. We'd have liked it to be a bit easier, but we're still there. So there you go.
Okay. Thank you. Pretty comprehensive from David Moyes. Now, interesting just to note what he said there about Saeed Benrahma, saying that he was brought in to score goals and create them. Just wondered if he might be expressing a little disappointment at having to wait so long to see the first goal, as good as it was, and it certainly was an absolute belter from the Algerian tonight, opening his account at last for the Hammers with what could be a priceless goal in the grand scheme of things as far as this season goes, in the 87th minute, cancelling out Danny Welbeck's opening goal in the 84th. That is just about it from us tonight. We're going to wrap up fairly early because it was a late kickoff, and I'm struggling to stay awake, and I'm sure the guys have got better things to do as well at this late hour. So 2 games of the season left to go. First one's away to West Brom in midweek. The last away game of the season. West Ham set a new record, as we said earlier, in the Premier League with 28 points away from home this season. Can we get into the 30s up at relegated Albion? And Big Sam, I'm sure, will be looking to put the mockers on it. But what do you think, Rio? Can we finally, put the end, put an end to this poor spell that we've had of late?
Yeah, I think we will. dare I say it, that 3-0 is still looking good to me. It's going to happen one game this season. So I think we're West Brom are already down. They're not the greatest squads as they are. They haven't got the big lumps at the back who can play a solid 5, although Sam might put himself in there to make that extra defender up. But yeah, I just think we'll have too much for them. We move too quickly. We've got too much creativity, pace and power for them in the middle. And I think after 2 stodgy games, we'll finally unlock the key and get 2 or 3 goals on Wednesday night.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Rio. So that's 1 win so far. Pinker, we all went for a win tonight. We was all wrong, but can we make up for it on Wednesday night?
Yeah, let's hope so, because let's hope there's enough spirit in this squad to say, do you know what, we've come this far this season. Let's not just have it drift away. You know, Sam Allardyce, of course, will have other ideas, and that's not an anti-West Ham thing. You know, it wouldn't matter who Sam Allardyce was playing on Wednesday night. If the other team have got something to go for, he'll try and rain on their parade, because that in itself is a victory. So, and I kind of admire him for that. You know, no soft games, no easy wins, no gimmies. You know, you want to win the hole, you've got to sink the putt. That's Big Sam for you. So I think we can do just enough on Wednesday. I certainly hope so. And why not? You know, 2 wins gives us our best league finish for what, 21 years, something like that. And that's a goal worth striving for, even if we just park any talk of Europe. You know, win our last 2 games. It's our best season for 21 years. Who doesn't want that? So for me, go for it Wednesday night. Try and get all 3 points, and I think we will.
Okay, good stuff. 2 wins for West Ham so far. Gnome looks like he's struggling to stay awake. I know you feel, buddy. West Brom Wednesday, 3 points on.
It's been a long week, mate. It's been a long week with lots of things going on. West Brom, yeah, I think we'll win. Nice to see that record of never have been relegated has gone out the window. I think we'll win. Simple as.
Like it. Yeah. Short and sweet. 3 out of 3. Who am I to rock the boat? I'll go for a West Ham win as well, which would take us to, if we were to win, of course, at the Hawthorns on Wednesday, that would take us to 62 points for the season, which would match what we achieved in 2015-16. That year, we did finish with a plus 14 goal difference. We're on plus 10 right now. So a nice hefty 4-0 win would put us level on terms with 15-16 and leave us with Southampton to come on the final day of the season. We haven't done man of the match, as John Harrington has pointed out. So we'll go around the room very quickly for that one. Noam, I'll start with you on this one. Your man of the match tonight.
Difficult because nobody really stood out. I think I'll give it to Declan, although he wasn't at the top of his game. As Pinky, I've nicked it before, and as Pinky very perceptively pointed out, that even a sort of 60% Declan was still probably the best player on the pitch. So I'll give it to him.
Okay, Declan Rice for Gnome. Pinky, how about you?
I'm tempted to give it to Soufal, but I've just got a nagging feeling when I see the goal we conceded, when we look at the tape again. But I don't need to see the tape. He stopped thinking that the centre-back would pick him up. If he had kept tracking Welbeck, we wouldn't have conceded. So I can't give it to Soufal. Antonio's another strong candidate. I know a lot of people were criticising him on the forum, which I don't quite get. I thought Antonio was good. But the sheer class of Declan Rice, 2 or 3 interceptions in the first half were just head, shoulders, and the rest of it above anything else we saw tonight. You know, and the watching Gareth Southgate would say, yeah, he's going to Europe, that's for sure. So Rice for me as well.
Okay, Rio, Rice for you or someone different?
No, I was going to go Soufal, exactly like Pinky, mainly because at the end of this season, where it's been so long, with such a small squad, and it's been truncated into, was it 8 months, 7 months, rather than the full normal 9 or 10?
Mm-hmm.
He's still full of running. He's still full of energy. He's still full of work rate. He's still giving 100%. But yeah, that when I look back here, I think the error might stand out a little bit more. So probably has to be Declan.
Okay, 3 for Rice. I was going to go for Soufal actually until Pinky pointed out that error, and I'm gonna stay with him actually, just to spread the love a little bit. We've got 3 nominations for Rice, so I'll go for Soufal with the caveat that I haven't seen a replay of the goal yet, so that's subject to change. But there you go, Declan Rice coming out a clear favourite for the team tonight. That is just about it from us this evening. But there is one more question that's coming, so I will throw this run around the table, as Mark Richardson has been good enough to put this one forward. Mark asks, and let's have a quick answer on this one, gentlemen. How about a question? If we get offered 80 million for Declan Rice this summer with a guarantee of it being reinvested in the squad, who would take it, and who would you be looking to sign? Let's go to Gnome to start on this one. 80 million for Rice, Gnome?
I'd want more. I'm a bit greedy. Is the transfer market that? I'd want more. I'd certainly want more from anyone other than, say, perhaps Man City. Because if we actually sort of push on and build a team round Rice in an ideal world, you know, as we've proved this season, that the teams around us, we can actually compete. And if we actually make that effort for next season, so no, I probably wouldn't take it. Okay. You also said with a guarantee that it's reinvested in the side.
Yeah, so clearly a hypothetical question.
Who's doing the investing? Because there are 3 people at the club I wouldn't want to see anywhere near making that decision as to players that we buy, and I'm sure Mr. Moyes agrees with me. So no, ideal world, I wouldn't take it. No.
Okay. Sorry, I've just seen a huge mouse run down the side of the room. I thought it was a rat first of all, but it's not. He's disappeared. He's obviously decided. Ooh, mousy. Get a lot of those around here. It's all the fields. Sorry, I've been totally thrown there. Pinky, 80 million for Declan Rice. Would you take that? And if so, who would you reinvest it in?
No chance would I take it. I wouldn't take 80 million. I wouldn't take 90 million. I wouldn't take 100 million. I wouldn't take 120 million. Under no circumstances would I sell Declan Rice. Not for any price, not to any club. If the chairman needs money, sell the club. There you go. You know, if you genuinely skint, Mr. Sullivan, sell the club. And instead of you trousering 400 or 500 million pounds for your initial investment of what, 20 or 30 million in West Ham United, yeah, you know, actually do the right thing and say, do you know what, to the new shareholder, just give me back what I paid for West Ham plus a little bit of interest, and put the rest into West Ham United Football Club, so they don't have to keep selling their best players year after year. So not at any price. Declan's done a couple of PR things for supporters in the last year that you know many supporters will be aware of, and that is the stuff of how you start building a legend as a player. And you know, supporters would be gutted to see Rice go at any price. So for my money, you keep him, you build a team around him, and your job as the chairman is to find the money from other sources other than selling your best players. Does David Sullivan really think he's the only football club chairman who hasn't got enough money? Because I'm telling you, if you phoned up the president of Atletico Madrid, he'd tell you he doesn't have enough money, but he manages to keep his best players, over there. And you know, why do we even want to give David Sullivan a cop-out by inventing a number and say, well, what is the number we would sell him for? Just make it clear, as a group of supporters, do not sell Declan Rice, full stop. That's it.
Okay. Pretty comprehensive no from Pinky. Rio, finally, 80 million for Declan Rice. Would you take it? And if so, who would you reinvest it in?
No, I wouldn't take it at all. How much would it cost to get a replacement for him? It's impossible at the moment.
Priceless.
He's a one-off. He's an absolute Rolls Royce. The fact he's dominating is probably the first time in the England team sheet at the moment, behind Harry Kane. It speaks volumes. Unless the player himself is unhappy, then 80 million is nowhere near enough. As Pinky said, £120 million isn't nowhere near enough. No.
Just very quickly. Very quickly.
Yeah, go on.
Go on, Gnome. Sorry, go on. Go on.
Just a thought. I mean, the comment was and reinvest it. You sell a player like Rice for 80, 90, 100 million. And yeah, even if you could trust the owners with that much, every club in the country who you go to buy someone off suddenly add 10, 15, 20 million to the player that you're going to buy. And yeah, and that's assuming that the owners would go for proper decent players who would be worth it in the first place, which our record suggests perhaps it's not necessarily the case. There you go. All yours, guys. Sorry,
I'm distracted again. My little friend's just come back. I think he's hungry.
I think we should point out that your studio there is in some form of shed in the garden, is it not?
Yeah. My office is based in the garden, so we're surrounded by fields, and this little fella has decided. I think he likes. I've got my bin, and there's all. I'll have to empty it. Coke cans and all sorts in there. He obviously fancies a drink, but he's a brave one, this one. But anyway, that is on that note. That's just about it from us tonight. It's been a disappointing night for West Ham United. It's finished. Brighton Hove Albion 1, West Ham United 1. The hoodoo continues. 8 games now against the Albion since they returned to the Premier League without a West Ham win. 3 defeats and 5 draws now. The last 5 games ending in draws. It's not good enough for West Ham and their Champions League hopes tonight. It's over. We can pretty much forget that now. We could be struggling to qualify for Europe if Tottenham and Everton get a result in their next fixtures, but it's going to go to the wire one way or the other, and we will be back anyway on Wednesday night for our penultimate game of the season, our final away game of the season at the Hawthorns against Sam Allardyce's relegated West Bromwich Albion. So we will see you all again then on Wednesday night. As I say, that is it from us tonight. I'm off to find a mousetrap. Jeff Stelling doesn't have to put up with this on Sky Sports. Does he? Mice running through the studio. For God's sake. Until then, come on, you Irons.
No.